So that's how noob I am when it comes to this kind of things, lah. Where should we start, man? Yeah. First of all, thank you very much. Thanks for doing this, man.
Welcome.
Thanks
Welcome.
for coming up all the way from Muar to KL. And we have not actually we have not actually talked face to face in a long time.
Yeah, a very long time indeed.
Very, very long time. Do you remember the old Jam Tank forum?
Yes.
That's how long, right?
Yes,
this
that's
is talking
how long
about
it is.
like early 2000s, mid 2000s, that era.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's around maybe 2003 or something like that.
Oh yes, okay, yeah. So okay, we have just shown and dated ourselves to everyone who's watching, listening this. We're all uncle already now. Very cool. Yeah. Hey, thanks, man, for coming this. But actually, you coming out here for some work, right?
Yeah, I come up for some projects here and there because I'm currently doing some consulting with some companies. So so once in a while I'll come up to KL.
Very cool, right? And I think you mentioned it to me that it's related to photography. I won't mention the company or the brand name because who knows, right? Unless they want to sponsor.
Yeah.
But that's very cool, man. That's one of the areas also where I think we were just talking about how MCO was. We learn new skills. Like for me, video is an entirely new thing that I'm learning these past 2 years. So my first question, I'm going to start first of all. The tough question was, how was MCO for you? How were you this past 2 years?
Oh, okay. On the contrary, actually, it's pretty good for me though. Yeah, it was really good for me in terms of, as you know, also I'm into music production and stuff like that. And for me during MCO, it was great because most of my clients are stuck in a place. You see, so and they'll be like calling me up and say, "Hey, man, let's finish up some songs because since I can't go anywhere, and stuff like that." So we will be like working like almost every day. Yeah, sitting in the studio and throwing ideas and even working up to a certain measure that we were completing like 8-9 songs in a month. Yeah, and that was pretty crazy though. Yeah, so I think MCO actually did me good in certain ways.
Yeah, that was very much that made you and your clients, everything became very productive.
Yep.
Because maybe there's no distractions of
True.
of or other responsibilities. So
yes.
They had made time to focus on music lah.
Yeah, because some of my clients they still have their own businesses and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's why during MCO they're not really doing much on their end, so they are able to focus more on the music side. Yeah, so which eventually becomes a fruitful event, I should say.
Yeah. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to talk to all my guests. The everyone's got a different story and a different experience, and it's tough. Generally, I mean, I'm sure it was tough, but we're thankful that sometimes we still get to have some work lah.
Yeah,
and
true.
and sometimes in the moment of this crisis, right, sometimes opportunities actually come out one. Yeah. So actually, for the benefit of anyone who's watching and listening, right, can you tell me more about yourself? What do you do? Talk a little bit of your of your studio, right?
Okay, first of all, my name is Sam, and I've been in music for a couple of years now.
Couple of years. Just now we just said, Jam Tank 2003 onwards. Yeah.
So pretty much started doing music since I was 16. That was the first time I stepped into the studio. Did a couple of recordings and stuff like that. And eventually, after Form 5, I went up north to Penang. And that time, I enrolled myself at Hits Recording Studio.
Mm.
That's where Mr. Fong runs the place, and at the time he offered this course by Full Sail. So we actually have this kind of like a affiliation with Full Sail. So we are able to study their syllabus and do it locally, which
Mm.
is very good for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at from day one we are able to stay in the studio and start to learn stuff in the studio itself, rather than just books and
Mm.
lessons and stuff like that. So it's a very hands-on project for a way of study. So that's how literally I begin my music journey and produce an album at 18 at the time. Yeah, so that's pretty much how I started my music journey though. Yeah.
That's really, really cool. Was there a point of time there where you like, hey, decided that, hey, this is something that, I want to do. I know, this is what I want to do. Was there a moment, was there, an experience or something like that sort of led you down this path?
Okay, to be fair enough, I mean, basically I grew up in the church. So I was playing for Sunday schools and stuff like that at the age of 5. So at the age of 10, I was playing for the main service. So growing up in church, I think the music influence is there.
Yep.
Yeah. So at that time, we managed to go to different Christian concerts. At that time, I remember there are
Mm-hmm.
quite a number of concerts and stuff like that. And there's this particular band called the Parachute Band. If I'm not mistaken, they're from New Zealand. So they had a camp here in KL, I think Sunway Lagoon, if I'm not mistaken. And what happened was the guy was talking about music production. There's one session he was talking about music production and producing albums and how they did it and stuff like that. So it kind of like that's something that pushed me to, oh man, it's quite interesting,
Mm.
producing album and stuff like that. What if I can do something like this for my church and since I'm really into music and all that. And for me, because Muar is a very small town, you don't really get all this kind of stuff here. You don't really get to see music production. You don't have a studio. You don't have proper teachers to teach music and stuff like that. So a lot of it started when I started to see different bands, different ones, see them perform live and see them talk about recording albums and stuff like that. Yeah, so eventually that kinds of like spark a certain thing in my heart. Say, oh, let's try this. It's
Yeah.
kind of cool, man.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is so cool. I mean, that's an inspiring story as well. And I think you're really special amongst all the people that I've talked with so far, because you see, I mean, the common idea lah, the usual idea is that, oh, if you want to be successful, if you want to make it big in like the music industry or anything to do with production, you got to move to KL, you got to be in the Klang Valley,
Mm-hmm.
or you got to move to one of the big urban centers. But throughout all these years that I've sort of known you, you have made a name yourself, and you've made an impact for yourself in Muar. You
Yeah,
see,
small
all,
town.
all this while, it's against what generally most people always say lah. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
hey, it's very hard lah. You can't do so. It's actually a very inspiring story to see that you are, able to do what you love to do, right? And like sort of fulfill your dreams, even though not basing yourself in KL, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's a good part, so you don't have to be stressed with KL and Klang Valley life. That's also one thing.
Yeah, but
Mm.
I should say that it has its pros and its cons.
Mm.
I think that the reason why I choose to stay in Muar and not move over to the bigger cities where a lot of people ask me to do that. They said, Sam,
yes.
what are you doing in Muar?
Exactly. You know, I'm
Yeah.
sure you must have gotten that, right?
Yeah, I've gotten it tons of times. People ask me the same questions again and
Mm.
again. But the thing is that I realized one thing in life: if you understand your purpose,
Mm.
you understand what kind of life you want to live, and you choose that path, I think eventually it will make your life a little bit more productive, and and you get to choose what you actually want. Because I mean, a lot of times we face this dilemma where you are forced into a certain direction because okay, for example, you want to do music, you got to be like what you say, you got to be in the
Yeah.
Klang Valley, you got to be this, you got to be that. But the thing was, when I started doing music, I wasn't thinking about making it big.
Mm.
I wasn't thinking about my name being up there. The only thing I was thinking was, how can I enjoy this? You know? So how can I really enjoy this, and at the same time, this hobby can be something more than just a hobby.
Mm.
Yeah. So that's why I think that the thing that is slightly different from my side is that yes, it's true that I'm a music producer. I'm a recording engineer. I'm a mixing engineer. I'm a sessionist. I'm almost everything that there is in a studio.
Yeah.
But my intention was never to say that, oh, one day I want to get this, I want to get that.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think that's why the direction and the focus that I set in my life was different. And therefore, while I'm enjoying doing what I lived, and things just happen.
Yeah.
Say for certain reasons that as long as I believe that as long as we are doing what we love and we're really passionate about it, it will draw the right people, it will draw the right things coming your way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it doesn't mean that I have to really set myself in a
Yeah.
certain place in order for me to be able to make it big. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's really beautifully put, you know, because I mean, I do get this question. And you see, I also see this question pop up time to time, especially maybe for younger those younger up and coming musicians or aspiring producers and engineers. Some of them who may not be, you know, maybe staying outside of Klang Valley at one of the smaller towns or small areas, and they always ask this question: "Oh, do I need to move to KL lah?" You know, or even if someone who is over in Sabah Sarawak, you know, they say, "Oh, do I need to move over here to KL? You know, move over to West Malaysia?" And I mean, just hearing your story and your reasons, sometimes, you know, it can be something that can be inspiring, can be a lesson for someone lah, you know, yeah, who's coming up, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think everyone has a different story to tell.
yeah,
That's why I say it's very important that you understand what you actually want in life.
mm-hmm.
I say a lot of people, sometimes they go into the music industry, they think that they want to be famous, they want to be this, they want to be that. But then the motives are all wrong, you know.
Mm.
I shouldn't say that it's 100% wrong.
Yeah.
Aspiring young musicians and all that. Of course, they want to be known, they want to be famous and stuff like that. But rather than focus on that, focus on building yourself. Yeah, I think that's a very important thing. If you focus on building yourself, you focus on making yourself better, eventually people will notice you. Yeah, sometimes it might take a longer time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it might not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's why to me that's why the main thing that really drives me is you have to know what you actually want out of this. What kind of life you want to live, you know?
Nice.
Are you going to live the life where you are still running the rat race, or you want to live a life where you can just tell a client, hey, sorry, man, I'm not free today. Can I do it tomorrow? You know, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it's very different.
Yes.
Because as you know, I started Premier Music back in 2008.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I start to, you know, try to run the business in a small town where eventually you have to do everything from the accounts to the recordings to everything. You have to do it.
Just to clarify, the Premier Music was your company it was what was the entire business? Because I know it was a couple of things, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
The thing that's different for my side was I don't focus on one.
Mm,
I don't focus on being just a music producer
yeah.
or just a sessionist and stuff like that. So when I started Premium Music, it was a recording studio with four other rooms to say where it started with four jamming studios
Yeah.
and one proper recording studio.
Mm-hmm.
So as time goes by, I see that the jamming is not going to work because it's taking too much of my time,
Mm,
and what do you call that? It goes into the late nights and all that. So
yep.
it's, I mean, you know, as music
Yeah.
industry, sometimes it can go really crazy into the wee hours, and so it comes to a point where I ask myself, what am I doing? You know, what am I doing 2 a.m. in the studio waiting for people to jam, finish their songs, and pay me 25 hours, $25 an hour, you know? And so that really hit me hard. So what I did was I convert all the four jamming studios into classrooms.
Mm,
Yeah, so that's where I started. Actually, I started teaching music since I was 16.
yeah.
But when I started Premium Music, so uh, the reason to have the jamming studio was to generate some sort of income, you know, to sustain the thing. And later on, I found out that when people start to hit your drums like crazy, when then the cymbals start to crack, you know, and the bass drum start to crack and stuff like
all
that.
the maintenance costs and all
True.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it piled up a lot,
Mm.
and it really took a toll on our health.
Mm.
Yeah, because we are working into the wee hours, and it's crazy at the time. So I transformed the four studios, jamming studio, into classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So I did hire a piano teacher at the time. So we try to teach.
Mm.
Yeah. So and I mean, things are not that bad per se. It's not like we have to. It's not like we can't survive or anything like that. It's just that, as I say, the question that I ask back myself: do
Yeah.
I want to live like this?
Mm.
At the end of the day, what does my life mean? You know.
Yep.
So after operating for 5 years, I decided to call it quits. And but the funny thing was that music never quit on me.
Yeah.
So what happened was, so I was like, I'm seriously tired with the whole music thing, and I was thinking of taking a break. So at that time, I shift into my new place, and whatever instruments and recording gears and all that I still have, I brought it back home. So I set up a mini place just for my enjoyment and stuff like that. But the thing was that music come knocking at my door again. So previously, all my students, you know, their parents are calling me and say, "Hey, can you just continue to teach my kids?" I said, I really want you to teach my kids. So I was like, okay, but I'm now at home. Do you mind? So they were like, okay, it's fine. Yeah. Anywhere, as long as you are able to teach them.
Yeah.
So eventually, since then, 201, I remember it's around 2014. I shift everything back to my new place, and since then until now, I'm still teaching.
Yep.
And I didn't advertise anything. I didn't do anything, but I thank God that you know it's still there.
Yep. That's
so
right.
that's why I say, no matter where you are, if you continue to do what you do, I mean, with such passion and once people see that you are genuine about it, and you really love what you do, eventually people will come looking for you.
Yep.
So that's the same thing happened when it comes to recording and the music production. So I was thinking to myself, man, how am I going to do all this stuff in my house? You know? So I make a DIY kind of vocal booth and sort of set up my place and all that. So then clients start to call and say, hey, are you still doing recording? I said, it's just in my house, man. The only thing I can do for you is VO and music arrangements and some mixing here and there. So they were like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
It's okay because that's pretty much what I want to do. So since that time, it's been a blessing because they are still with me until now.
Yeah.
Yeah, those clients are still with me until now. Even to a certain extent, some of them supported the whole business thing where I told them, I said, man, I'm not going to invest any more money into equipment. If you really want all this stuff, you got to do something about it. and I mean, I'm fortunate enough that certain things take place, and I begin to have some investors invest in certain things that they want to see done in their production.
Mm.
Yeah, so eventually, I set up my place to what it is today.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely follow, from time to time you always share on Facebook, right? And the stuff. And of course your photos and your photography from time to time as well. Yeah. Uh, one day if I make a visit there, I definitely got to make a visit there and do a little studio tour and check out the place. I have a little visit lah.
Sure,
Yeah.
definitely.
I do have reason to go there because actually I do have relatives there in Muar, but
Okay.
I feel bad because most of the time actually they are the ones who have to come up to KL. So we almost because most of us is in KL, we almost never go down there lah.
Yeah, true.
So,
Understand.
yeah. But we do have some close relatives. One aunt that's from there, one of my aunties there actually took care of me when I was young kid for several years.
Wow.
She really helped out and took care. So she so definitely owe her a lot lah.
So
Yeah.
you definitely have to go down.
Yeah. Actually, she's living in KL now, but so
okay.
from time to time I still see her lah. Yeah.
That's good.
But you gotta make it a point. I'll make it a point to check it out. Yeah. So let's talk. Let's go into more of the technical stuff. The
sure.
more technical, geeky nerd stuff that we can go over. What's your studio system like? What is it based around? What DAW are you based around?
Okay. Previously I was running Cubase as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then one day Swan from Cinemax told me, he said, bro.
Shout out to Suan.
Yes. If you're listening to this, thanks for introducing me Studio One.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah. Suan was the one who introduced me to Studio One.
Mm-hmm.
And because at that moment I was more into the music arranging side.
Mm.
Yeah, so I find that the whole layout and the features that Studio One provides, it kind of suit my needs.
Yep.
At the very moment.
Mm.
So I made the switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, to Studio One.
Correct. Yeah. Because I remember last time you also Cubase. We also Team Cubase user.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, now you switched to Studio One already.
yeah, because it's as I say, it fits my workflow.
Yeah.
So that really helps me a lot in doing my stuff.
Mm. Well, I mean, I hear a lot of people, and Studio One actually is really, really popular. It was one of the the fastest growing because it's, I think, like you said, workflow wise, features wise, it definitely offered a lot more. It was a lot more accessible. Every time you buy any gear from Presonus Gear, they give you the free one, and you have the which one? The Artist, is the free version. Now it's called, or it's something different now.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Yeah.
Because I straight away jump right into the professional series. So that gives me the access to all the plugins and the whole functionality.
Yeah, the fat channel. It has that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't really use the plugins though. I don't. I'm being very honest. I don't.
Okay.
I only sometimes I use the EQ here and there just to check out on my levels.
No worries. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm sure they won't. I'm sure they won't get upset about it. We're already promoting Studio One here. Yeah. Well, what do you usually use? So if you don't use the stock plugins, what third party do you love? What's your favorite?
Okay. I'm a UAD user for a very, very long time now.
Yeah, UAD. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I started using UAD back in 2010. So a good 12 years now. And so most of my stuff that I use regularly. Basically UAD stuff.
What are your favorite UAD plugins?
I can't be really that biased to
Mhm.
call it favorite because there are certain things that I always fall back to,
Yeah.
like the Helios channel strip,
Mm.
and the Fatso compressors,
Right.
So and the Lexicon reverb,
Right. I see.
their 480
Mhm.
reverb, and so those are some of the plugins that I go to almost every recording sessions.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say that UAD because I love the freedom of having it not taxing on your PC.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, my PC wasn't like
Yep.
that fastest stuff, And although now I'm fortunate enough to have a very good
Yeah.
system
Mm.
running, and so yeah, I would say that the stuff that I really fall back to UAD stuff.
That's very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, man, some of the best sonic plugins. Are you using the PCI card or are you using the satellite?
Okay. I actually use both.
Mm. Yeah.
So I'm how my workflow is. I run through the Apollo.
Mm.
Okay, so from the Apollo, I run everything back into the system, and I had the PCI card
Mm.
since day one.
Yeah.
So since 2010, I have that. Then later on, I think somewhere down the road, I think it's just quite recent, if I'm not mistaken. Last year, I got the satellite,
Mm.
the Octo series.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Thunderbolt, right?
yep,
Mm.
they're running on Thunderbolt
Mm.
stuff. So I was able to get pretty much quite some DSPs going on.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're running on Thunderbolt, are you using a PC or a Mac?
I'm using a PC actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's actually where maybe I have to ask you later because I honestly I used to be very into the building your own PC thing,
Mhm.
and most of my PCs are all custom built. I build it myself, but
Okay.
I think the past 4 or 5 years, right, it's like I stopped following and so it's like, oh, PC for Thunderbolt. Okay, never mind. We'll do. I'll ask you after the off
Sure,
off the air.
no
Yeah,
problem.
because if we keep going down this road discussion, people will be like, okay, from one thing to another. That's very cool. Yeah. What do you think about the UAD Spark that's coming out soon?
I haven't really gone into it, so
Oh yeah, because it's not
Yeah.
really available for PC yet, but
true. So
this will be moving into native.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So for me, I mean, because I didn't really, I mean, although I love certain things, but it doesn't mean that I'm like crazy about it, and every single thing I have to have it, So even like once they came out with the Luna system and all that, yeah, but that's mainly for the Mac OS. So
Yeah, it's Mac only. Yeah.
so sometimes, man, what you guys are doing already? Think about the PC users.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. But there's so many choices nowadays, man.
True.
For we are really spot with choice. Obviously, if you are a long time UAD user, right, and it makes sense, right, and if you're a Apollo user to use a lot of their plugins, but plugin Alliance lah, obviously Waves is another of the old ones.
Yeah, I do use Waves a lot
Yeah.
as actually. I do use them as well. I find some of the SSL series, yeah, especially the stereo compressor bus,
Right. The 4000,
Yeah.
the G. Yeah.
Yep, the bus compressor.
Yeah.
That's the industry standard glue.
Yeah, man.
where you glue everything glues together because of that. Yeah.
On the topic of gear, right? You are a guitarist, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. I remember you always have your pictures of your Ibanez, your gems, is it?
Yeah, I used to collect them. Yeah.
You used to have. Well, I remember you posted, the photos of all your gems. Last time you also even have the Carvin M, right?
The Legacy
The
M
Legacy
is
M.
actually still with me.
It's still with you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I still have the Legacy M's. I have a half stack and a combo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so both of it is still with me.
So why? So because of this, do you talk about Gem and then the Legacy M? So let me guess, who's your is Steve Vai your biggest influence?
That's a good question. Even when I'm working with Namewee,
Yeah.
he will always say me, Sam, you can even do whatever Steve Vai stuff you do. I said, no, man, I'm not into those kind of stuff anymore. Well, I cannot deny that the early days, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, because that's pretty much where G3, that was our era.
Yeah.
So that was our influence, and being a Steve Vai fan, was really into Ibanez at that time. So I had like maybe, I think at least 10 Steve Vai series guitars.
Right. I can hear busy giggling there, So yeah, it's that. Yeah. I know that feeling. Yeah.
So I can easily say that I own more than maybe 200 Ibanez guitars before.
Throughout your
my crazy Ibanez days.
I remember last time you posted a photo was the UV 777,
Yes,
is it?
the multicolored.
The multicolored one. I remember you had that as well. Do you still have that?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh man.
I sold it to Jackie.
Jackie? Which Jackie?
Jackie Lee.
Oh, okay, right.
So he's the one who have a lot of my rare Ibanez.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So
he has those.
So like how any regrets? 後悔冇?
I should say that because I mean our music, our style, the things that we work on evolves. So I remember you said this in one of the posts that it's so hard to get the nice rhythm stuff coming out from a gym.
Oh,
I don't know whether you still remember this, but I remember.
Oh boy,
clearly.
Okay, you picked out one of those comments, right? The one of my posts. Oh boy,
yeah,
okay.
I remember back in the days you were
and all the jam fans are gonna got mad at me because I said that.
To a certain extent, that statement was quite true. Okay. I'm not going to try to offend anyone because I used to be a Steve Vai fan. I'm not used to, I'm still is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, what I'm saying is I used to collect his guitars. And if you want Steve Vai, you go for the Germ, you go for Legacy, you go for the Bad Horsey and stuff like that. You will get his kind of stuff. But if you want to be a sessionist, you want to play canto pop, you want to play some Malay music, you want to play some Chinese music or whatever that it comes the way. Sometimes you still have to find back a certain type of guitars. For example, if you need a nice single coil type of guitar, you can't be using the Germ. You know. So it's not to try to offend anyone or whatever, or not taking sides on different brands. It's just that you got to find the right tools for the right job. Yeah, simple as that. I'm not a Fender user because most of the guys who like Ibanez don't really go into Fenders, you know. So, but at a certain point where my client asked me to do certain jobs, like even like some Hokkien kind of stuff, Hokkien songs, So those kind of stuff require the kind of twangy Fender stuff,
Yeah.
So I cannot be using my Germ and try to, imitate that. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
So eventually I got myself a Eric Clapton Blackie.
Right.
Then it fits the job.
Yep.
So as the years goes by, I should say that, all of us mature in our playing, mature in our producing, our production, our style of music and things like that. So eventually I moved out of Ibanez just because that I wanted something more. I wanted something different, So I went into PRS. So for a long period of time, the 513 was my main gear. It was versatile, and I kind of like how it sounds and how it feels. So a lot of my work are done on the 513. Yeah. Only the recent years I went to Tom Anderson.
Right.
And a couple of Namewee's recording I use the Tom Anderson and the Sirs.
Very nice. Yep.
Yeah. Because it gives a certain feel. So at the end of the day, I should say that as we grow in music, sometimes we are fortunate enough to choose the gifts that we want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So once we have that, I think um, it kinds of shape the work that we are doing,
Mm-hmm.
the sound of the work that we are doing, and eventually, you know, um, move away from certain things into a next phase in
Yep.
your music
Agreed.
career.
Yeah.
So there's nothing against any brand or whatever. It's just that the music that we are doing, I'm not playing Steve Vai style anymore. Those are a lot of those kind of stuff are more on my own
Mm-hmm.
compositions. But when clients want certain things, we can't be playing Steve Vai, we can't be playing Jose Treni and stuff like that on a Chinese song. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work,
Very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So that's why I think eventually the stuff that I'm using were all kind of like even based on what my client wants.
Yeah. It's just natural to always evolve with the times, and
Yeah,
evolve with the needs, lah.
yeah,
Right.
true.
One of the interesting things that that I've been following, and now that you brought him up a few times, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, is Namewee. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So how did you sort of get to connect with him and started working
Oh,
with him? Yeah.
okay. This is a very interesting story.
Oh yes. Yeah.
I hope he don't mind me sharing this. Okay. First of all, Namewee and I are classmates in primary school. So during our primary days, you can guess he's exactly the same as he is now. So there are four of us who are always been the naughtiest kids in the class. And we always be the teachers will be hitting on us, punishing us and stuff like that. But the crazy thing about Namewee was at that very young age, he was he was memorizing songs after songs from various Hong Kong artists at that time.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, the four heavenly kings,
Yes.
all those Aaron Kwok, Sammi Cheng, and all. Sorry, not Sammi Cheng. Why am I talking about Sammi Cheng? Okay.
Maybe you're a secret fan,
No,
right?
no, because
Yeah.
because whenever I talk about Aaron Kwok, Sammi Cheng, and all this, because I did some stuff for them.
Mm.
Yeah, which if there's any chance, I'll talk about that later.
No worries. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened was he was really into really the songs,
Mm.
and it really blew my mind that he could write up all the lyrics on the blackboard
Mm-hmm.
at that time when teacher is not around, and he started to sing, and even asked the classmate, and all of us are like singing together with him. It was like crazy, man, this guy, and who knew that
Mm.
Monday he will be what he is today.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So at that time, after we graduated primary school, we went our separate ways actually because I wasn't really good in Mandarin. So he went into Johor High School,
Mhm.
and I went to St Andrew. So that's where we kind of parted ways for a couple of years. So Namewee, I think if I'm not mistaken, he started the guitar club in that high school. So he was still into music at the time. So he was like playing guitars, and then just singing and stuff like that. But the thing about him is he's very good at writing songs.
Mm.
That's one thing that I really admire him.
No doubt,
Yeah.
undoubtedly. Yep.
So how we connect back was he went over to Taiwan to study after Form 5. So he was studying mass comm.
Mm-hmm.
So he started writing music for a couple of years. He tried to sell the songs
Mm-hmm.
to companies. One day he came back to whenever he got a chance to come back to Malaysia, he would come and look for me and said, Sam, this is 700 ringgits I got from selling fried chicken at at the roadside. Can you please arrange 4 songs for me and record 4 songs for me? So at that time, I just got back from Penang. So I started a small recording stuff in my room. So he came and asked whether I could help him. So at that time, he wasn't famous.
Yep.
So at that time, all he wanted was to sell his songs to companies so that somebody else can sing. So, but the problem happened was I think he got cheated by some companies and all that. So he was very frustrated, and at the time he was like, okay, I'm done with this. I said, okay, let me do something on my own, you know. So at that time, I remembered he came back, and I introduced him to this MIDI player, MD players. Last time he was famous because those Sony MDs, they are able to record as well. So he was able to record his own stuff and all that, and then bring back so that I could do the music arrangements and eventually recorded the songs for him. I taught him a little bit on recording side so that he could do his own recording when he was in Taiwan. Eventually, that started the Mapo Hawaii, which is the Muar Chinese kind of stuff, that song that made him famous. So after that, I started Premium Music.
This is around 2008.
2008. Yeah. So what happened was, he was already building up his own fan base, and he was quite famous at that time already. So he was always in Taiwan, flying back here and forth. And so we hooked up a few times, but we did not work together since then. We didn't, we didn't do any collaboration and all that. So during MCO, a friend of mine who also knew Namewee, who did the production for my house. I think I can't really remember the title. He was, what do you get it? There's a particular song last year about his house. Yeah, so my friend was the one who did the video recordings and the video production and stuff like that. So happened he asked my friend, say, hey, is there anywhere else in Muar can I do recordings? Then my friend said, why you didn't go look for Sam? So the funny thing was, Namewee thought I was out of the music business for good.
Right.
Because at that time, I ran Premium Music for about 5 years or so.
Yeah.
So when I shift out of the place, someone offered him the place and say that the guy is not doing anymore. He's just, So Namewee actually thought that I'm no longer in music.
Right.
Yeah. So and so the funny thing was that because of that, he didn't thought about me, and we kind of lost touch for a while.
Yeah, it happens,
it happens.
Life happens.
Life happens. I'm busy with my own stuff, and he was busy with his own
Obviously,
stuff.
yes. Yeah.
So one day he called me up. He said, "Bro, you're still doing this?" I said, "What do you think?" I said, "Yeah, I'm still doing this.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm still doing this." He said, "Oh, okay, cool. Let's meet up." So being that we didn't meet for a few years, so when he came over to my place, at first he was just wanting to do the vocal recordings because at the time it was MCO, so he couldn't be running around studios and stuff like that. So he was back in Muar. He came over to my place. He was shocked. He said, "Oh, bro, the stuff that you're using here," because I remember very clearly his personal assistant was with him at that time. So his personal assistant came in and saw the stuff I'm using and said, "Bro, some of the stuff of the studio in KL don't even use the stuff you use." I said, "Okay, whatever." I'm just focusing on my stuff. Everyone has their own choice. So eventually, after recording for Namewee, he just looked at me and said, "Sam, I haven't actually asked anyone to play for the song. Why not you play for me?"
Yeah.
I said, "Seriously, bro?" I said, "You're asking me to play your song now?" I said, I was reluctant to do it, at the time. I was like, "Please, don't. I don't want. I know you're a big star now. If you ask me to do your production, that's kind of the pressure is there." And the worst thing was Lee Naikong.
Yes, I know Naikong.
One of the great music arrangers in Malaysia. So he was the one who arranged the song. So I was a bit, pressured. Oh my God, Naikong is the one arranging the song and you asked me to play. So Namewee just told me, he said, "Bro, you just do what you do. I know how you work. If anything you want to change, you just change. I'll tell Naikong." So that gives me a bigger pressure that, oh man, I'm not going to change Naikong's arrangement, and it's just not right. So eventually I tried to play as as original as what Naikong did. So the whole song, I played the drums, the bass, the acoustic, and the electric. Yeah, Naikong played the piano.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was really honored that he would ask me to do that.
Yep.
So that's how we connected back again. Yeah. So after that, he did throw a couple of jobs here and there. But the thing was that, there's so many people tell me, hey, now Namewee come and look for you already. Now you're a big star. I said, come on, man, we are just friends, And say, hey, how much you're earning from him? So all these kind of questions will definitely pop up.
Yep.
Yeah. So for me, it's not like just because I'm doing stuff for him now, I'm going to charge him like crazy and take this opportunity to earn for him. So even to a extent that after the production and everything, we talked for hours over the phone, and then we were saying that, bro, you're charging me too cheap, man. I said, no, I'm not going to, I'm not going to like slash the price and just because that now you're famous and I'm going to charge you like crazy kind of stuff. I said, that's not what I do. I said, I'm not going to do that. So I said, whatever it is, we go way back. We go way back than just doing this as business. Yeah, so every time he would chase me for the invoice. I said, bro, relax lah. You go and do your mixing first. I said, you don't have to worry about the invoice. I said, I'll send it to you. So he's a very good paymaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions about him, and
of course,
but all I can say is when he is with us, he's a very down to earth person. He's a very quiet person. He's very polite. But of course, when it comes to work, he has a certain requirements and the work ethics is there.
Yep.
And he requires the best.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's how, I got the gig with Namewee.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else coming up? You mentioned that you're still working on some stuff with him, right?
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, I just finished.
Only things that you can disclose, like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just finished tracking some guitars for him 2 days ago for his upcoming song. I think I'm not sure when he's going to release it, but all I know is that he's working on it because there are some other collaborations in the song.
So that first song, the one that you worked with, that Naikong arranged, what's the title of the song?
I think it's My Home or something like that.
Yeah,
it's the story about his house, how he transformed his house. I'm very bad when it comes to remembering my client stuff because I know sometimes people take pride in this stuff too.
Yeah.
To me, is
Okay, no worries. I will check it out because I want to leave all these links later on down, so that people can go and.
I'm so sorry that I couldn't think of the title.
No worries.
Straight away.
Very, very easy to just Google nowadays. Yeah.
True.
All right. So, anything that you want to plug? Anything that you want to promote? Anything that you want to talk about? It's all free, man. It's not like an interview where I ask you questions. Is there anything?
There's not really anything that I would like to promote in a sense, in a business sense or music sense, but I always believe in giving back. So if we talk about projects or stuff like that, so what I'm currently doing is I'm actually training youth, some youth in my church to play as a band. Eventually that we want to see that young people start to get into music, even to serve, in church and stuff like that. Yeah, I've been doing that for many, many years now.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing was, I was always doing for other churches. I was always doing workshops and stuff like that with other people. But this time it was kind of special because I was able to do it for my own.
Right.
For my own people, my own church and stuff like that. So that's why I should say that if there's anything to promote, I'm not really that kind of person where I don't really bother the business sense.
Right, yeah.
And even like people say, wow, you did stuff for Namewee, you did stuff for these guys and all that. To me, it's just, it's a blessing. I look it that way. I don't look it as cents and dollars and cents.
Well, you're so humble when you say that. Yeah.
Because I understand one thing, because that's why I say it all depends on what you want in music.
Mm-hmm.
See, my goal is never to be famous, never to be able to like earn a lot, or because why I understand why I do music. Yeah, eventually I want to see people be able to enjoy music. Yeah, to because a lot of times when we take something that we love and monetize it, uh, the love for it somehow
Sometimes, yeah.
one way or another. Unfortunately, a lot of
Mm.
us in the business, we have to do that because to survive.
Yes.
Yeah. So for me to cope with this issue, I look for multiple sources of income.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I teach, I do music production, I do arrangements, I do recordings, I do different stuff. I do some investment here and there. So to keep the money sense out of what I love.
Yeah.
Yeah. So eventually that helps me to be able to really do what I love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So to be able to give my best in music where there's no one pointing the money into your face and say you have to do this, you have to do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I should say that I'm very fortunate in that sense. I know a lot of us struggle with this. The reality of life. We have to put food on the table. We have to pay the bills. Yeah, it's not an easy thing, I should say. That's why
100%, man.
yeah,
I feel you.
Yeah, I feel you, bro. So that's why I venture into other things for me to secure my finance so that I can continue to do what I love.
Mm-hmm. I think that's actually really, really good advice as well. Would that be your advice for anyone who's coming up, up and coming?
Okay, for anyone that's up and coming, whether you are going into music production, sessionist, music, whatever that pertains to music and something that you love too, your love for it, my advice is always understand the market. So to understand what people really want out of this industry, and are you able to supply the stuff? Are you going in for the money? Are you going in for the fame? Are you going in because you love to do what you love? Once you get a clearer picture on this, then you'll be able to balance your life. Yeah, so that's why if you ask me what are my advice for upcoming musicians and all that, never let what you love to do dies off because of finance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we have to be very real in life, You have to work out the finance and you have to work out what you want to do. Yeah. So eventually, if you're able to balance this, I'm pretty sure that nowadays young people, they are smart, They can do online business. They can even do Facebook Live and all that and start to earn money, Which we didn't think about that in the earlier days, So that's why to keep your passion afloat and how to sustain, I think that's a very realistic question that you have to ask yourself before you're even thinking about entering to the music business.
Very nicely put.
Yeah. So I would like to share a little bit on this because I have students who are really into music production, music production, recordings, music arrangements, and pretty much what they want to do is kind of duplicate what I'm doing. And I have students like this who are now opening their own studios in KL. So they are constantly asking me questions like how to set this up, how to do this, how to do that. And that's why the business side and also the passion for music, it cannot subside or diminish because of finance issues. So that's why I should say it's very important to understand what is going on, to know what the trend are, what the market wants, how much you can actually realistic get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, if you're a sessionist, how much you can actually get out of it. If you are mixing a song for some artist, whether do you even have the chance to do that, where there are so many other people who is doing this. See, sometimes the truth in any industry that matters, sometimes it's not how good you are. Sometimes it's the connections that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's the opportunity that is been given to you. Yeah. So sometimes people can be cocky and think that they are so great and all that just because somebody asks you to do certain work. But sometimes you're just lucky enough
Mm-hmm.
that, the opportunity comes knocking at your door. If you don't treasure those stuff, one day you'll be gone. Yeah. So that's why I would really seriously say that to really understand the whole business side of music before you want to go into it,
Mm-hmm.
then that will give you a clearer picture of what you are stepping into, in terms of, whether you sustain yourself being a full-time musician.
Very, very wise words to take to heart. You should probably do another, like a seminar, or another course like that. It'll be a whole different topic already, outside of this video. Okay, what is music to you, Sam?
What is music to me?
Hmm.
That's a very, very good question. Music to me is a way how we express, a way how we see things, a way to show how we feel. I always deal this with my clients where yesterday I actually had a recording session with one of my clients, and I was kind of like coaching that client in the vocal side of it because I feel that it's just not really bringing out the song. It's not really carrying the feel. So to me, every piece of music that I do, any work when it pertains to music or even photography, the thing that really mean to me is the feel. What it brings, what it makes me feel. If I play a song for 5 seconds and it doesn't make me want to listen, I would just stop. That's how I determine whether it's good or not. I know sometimes people say, "Hey, that's very biased," or it's not. But sometimes there are certain songs with just that two note, for example. You listen to you know what you are going to get yourself into, and you know what the kind of feeling and the kind of thing that really connects with you through music. It's a very subjective stuff, but it's a very expressive thing. If you do music just because you want to play something or your client do, it's not going to be a masterpiece, or it's not going to be something that you remember. It's not that something that you're going to enjoy at the end of the day. So every piece of music that I do, I want to be able to enjoy it. I want to be able to replay it and listen, and I still like it. If I don't like it, there's a certain point where I change the whole music arrangement. I tell the clients, I said, don't worry about the payment. I'm not going to ask you to pay anything else. It's just me. I couldn't get past this. I just don't get a feel. Let me just correct certain things and redo the arrangements until I get a feel. Yeah, so that's why I say why I want to keep it pure in that sense. I don't want finance to push certain directions that I'm going. I don't want people's opinion to push a certain directions that I supposed to do this, in this particular song. I'm very blessed to be able to do this on my own terms. Yeah, that's why a lot of my clients nowadays understand how I work and they give me the freedom to work. Yeah, that's why you don't really see me in the music scene in Malaysia because I don't want to go there in the first place. If I want to be famous, I want to be known and all that, I would, as you say, shift over to Klang Valley, that kind of stuff. But I want to keep it as pure as possible. That expression of music. Yeah, to me, it's not about how many chords you play in a song or how many notes you're going to play in one particular chord. But sometimes it's just that four notes, it sounds great. Yeah. So, yeah, to me, it's all about a feel.
That's beautiful. That's really, really beautiful to hear from you. All I can say is that you are actually making a blessing and you are actually making such an impact to the music scene where you are. You talk about all the students that you've inspired who are now, coming up, getting into music production. the musicians that you are training in churches, and what you're doing is awesome, man. So be it that you're not, will not like doing whatever top 10 number one hit or something like that, but you're still impacting people's lives through what you do and what you do in music, and that's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So hopefully, right, when more of the when Namewee stuff and more of the stuff that you're working on gets out, maybe the phone's gonna be ringing now nonstop, for you.
Oh, that's what I'm afraid. No. I'm sure there are a lot of other musicians out there who are so much better than me in terms of skill. Every time when I do projects like him, like Namewee and stuff like that, I always tell him this. I say, bro, you're giving me a lot of pressure in a sense where I'm worried that I'm not going to meet your expectations, And say, don't worry, we're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I really thank him for trusting me, to be able to work in such a way.
Yep.
For artists like him to sometimes say, okay, bro, you listen, this is roughly how I want it to sound. Then he will sing it out, So your guitar lines should be something like this. You work on it, and it's so cool, It's crazy to see things like this, because usually we don't.
Right.
Yeah, we don't see artists like this caliber sit down and talk to you like details.
He's very, very hands-on and very personal when it comes to working with you and with his musicians.
And the ideas that he throw, and he even how he value our ideas. He will ask us, "What do you think? What do you think? Okay, I like this. What do you think? I should say that I'm really blessed. So whenever people ask me, "Oh, you are so good at your Namewee is asking you to do stuff," I say, "Bro, no, it's not because I'm good. It's just because I'm able to give him what he wants, and because he was gracious enough to give me the opportunity."
Yeah.
Because deep in my heart, I know that there's so many other musicians who are more deserving than me. Yeah, but sometimes, we just got to take the blessing and count it and be grateful.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm seriously very grateful and blessed to be able to work with him.
Yep.
Yeah. Although I'm not the famous guitarist in Malaysia or whatever it is. Well, at least I'm able to deliver what he wants. Yeah, and that I'm seriously grateful for that.
And I'm very grateful that you took the time. I know you're gonna have to drive back down to Muar after this, So I'm grateful. Thank you for spending your time here with me. I think it's a good place to wrap it up, man.
Yeah.
How do people reach you? Social media? How do we contact you?
Yeah, you can reach me on Facebook. What are the platforms? I think mostly just Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you type my name, I think you should be able to find me.
Any Insta, IG, any other?
I'm not too active on Instagram.
That's fine. That's perfect. That's okay. You're not not missing out on anything.
Yeah. I think more on my photography stuff on Insta.
Oh, okay. Hey, if you want to shout that out as well, I'll ask you. You just pass me the link, lah. I'll just link it to it later in the video description.
Yeah.
And usually, there'll be a card on the video that comes out on the corner that people can also click on it. I'll put it there as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thanks very much, Sam.
Okay,
Thank you for sharing your really, really cool, really inspiring story, and I hope that you continue to, make an impact lah. So a great lesson. You can always make an impact. You can always be a blessing to people, no matter where you are. All right. So all right. Let you go. Have a safe drive, man.
Okay. Thanks, man.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bang, bang, bang.